It's time to talk about Batman, and not The Batman, the film that everyone seems to be discussing. As you know, I'm always a little bit behind the times. I would like to talk about Batman Nightwalker by Marie Lu, a novel from a few years ago, and I hope you enjoyed me saying Batman in the title just then, because that is the only time you will hear the word Batman if you read this book. Batman is not in it. This is a book about Bruce Wayne as a teenager. Bruce Wayne, basically, here's an overview of the plot. He turns 18, he gets access to his family's massive trust fund, and then immediately gets in a car chase with some criminals because he sees a crime being committed and he can't just stand by because he's Bruce Wayne. So he gets in a car crash, the police arrest him for interfering with a police investigation, and Bruce Wayne ends up doing some community service as a janitor in Arkham Asylum, where he meets a beautiful young woman named Madeline who may or may not be a murderer. The justice system thinks she is, because she's right there in Arkham Asylum on account of the murder that she committed. But did she? Bruce Wayne isn't sure. Or is she just trying to manipulate Bruce Wayne into being unsure? That's what the reader will quickly start to wonder. This was a pretty cool book in lots of different ways. I liked it. I've always found Bruce Wayne a more interesting character than Batman, so I didn't mind that there was no Batman in the story. For those of you who are Batman fans, by the way, he does eventually dress up and punch some people, but I don't want to spoil too much for you beyond what I already have. So the pacing of this book is glacial, I have to say that, but that does more. Instead of getting boring, the glacial pace seems to mostly heighten the suspense. And I have to acknowledge that this is a young adult novel. It's designed for teenagers. I read it with my 7-year-old, and my 7-year-old loved it and had no trouble keeping track of the plot, possibly because the plot moves at such a slow pace that it's pretty easy to follow. I do also have to say that this is not an appropriate book for a 7-year-old to read, partly because it's so violent, partly because it's so horny. There are no sex scenes in this book, but the characters really want there to be, and you can tell. And there's always been something about Batman, like superheroes in general, but Batman in particular, the way he dresses up, you can tell it's kind of a kink. This was one of the things that Watchmen did so well, I think, making the sort of sexual side of superheroism explicit. But so this book doesn't make it explicit, but anyway, there's a lot of lust in the story. Some of the writing is beautiful, but it's also kind of unashamedly over the top and dramatic in a way that I really enjoyed. I thought, and I'm a fan of any book that does a good job of kind of balancing a character on a knife edge between seeming good and trustworthy and sympathetic and seeming dangerous and frightening. And Madeline, the character in this, is really cool in that sense. Now, I'm not a Batman super fan, so I don't know how much of this stuff appears in other media, the comics, the movies, but to me, all of it was new except for Bruce Wayne, Alfred, Lucius Fox. And Harvey Dent's there in the background, but he doesn't really do anything. He doesn't turn into Two-Face. So the villains, the Nightwalkers and stuff, they were completely new to me, and I find that refreshing. It's nice to not just have yet another story about the Joker or yet another story about the Penguin. This is all new stuff to me. So yeah, I'd recommend Batman Nightwalker particularly if you're a fan of Bruce Wayne and teen fiction and you just want to read a kind of cool mystery. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe. Otherwise, I'll pretty quickly get bored and stop making them. But before you do that, or you can do it while I'm talking, who knows. I want you to tell me what I should review next. I'm undecided between A Superior Spectre by Angela Meyer, which is this kind of genre-blending, time-scale, hopping, sci-fi, dark, literary noir thing, or What the Hell Did I Just Read by David Wong, which is another genre-blending sort of time hopping thing, but in this case, more like dimension hopping than time hopping, and also it's a blend of comedy and horror rather than sci-fi and historical. So First person to post a comment on this video, tell me which one you want me to talk about next, and I will talk about that for you. In the meantime, I've been Jack Heath, author of Kill Your Brother. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.